I'm in California looking for big sky country, and I'm driving an American legend, a Sportsmobile. The road ahead is long, straight and going nowhere, just the way I like it.
I just realized now that it's now official. I have the best job in the entire world, because I get to come to places all over the world and drive interesting vehicles, and I get to come to places like this. Shiny 4x4s.
Travelling with me is Alan Felt, boss man at Sportsmobile.
This is really hard ground though.
And a good friend from Colorado, Bob Towery.
There it is, the mighty Colorado River. We're we're looking for the Mojave Road Trail. The Mojave Road Trail is a well-established, well-known 4x4, recreational 4x4 trail in North America. It has really a very, very rich history. But what I like about it the most is that it is completely uncommercialized. So much so that the road to get on it is not even signposted. So we've set up camp here with the two Sportsmobile and my friend Bob Towery from Colorado. He's here with his Toyota Tacoma, and we're going to spend 3 days in the desert exploring the Mojave Road Trail.
The Mojave Desert occupies a significant portion of Southern California, as well as parts of Utah, Nevada and Arizona. Our trail begins near the town of Bullhead City and travels across barren, almost uninhabited land, ending at the Soda Lake near the town of Barstow. It will take us 3 days.
Mojave Road. Now I wonder how the first people found it. When the sign wasn't here.
Well, here we are at the beginning of the Mojave Road. It's taken about 2 hours to actually find the point. We have an old book. The new book has lots of GPS coordinates, so we've been doing it the difficult way, without the use of GPS, but we have at last found it, so our adventure begins here. But this is where I really belong. On the trail with an open road in front of me, no distractions, except for this one. These beautiful things. Oh, it's stuck hard on my foot. Oh man, wow. I'm going to need a special tool to get that off. I'll never get that off with my hands.
These cacti have an appropriate name. They're called leaping cactus. A good name, I'd say.
You can't touch this with your hands. It's absolutely lethal. I've never known a cactus to be quite this angry and vicious. They are quite scary things. Tell you something. You accidentally get one of those in your sleeping bag and you will have a very, very miserable night. Well, quite hot, but not extremely so. Probably about 30 degrees Celsius. Letting down the tires as the track gets a little bit sandy.
These are automatic deflators from Trail Ready, and what's really nice, you can set them, and these have a pressure setting, And you can set them anywhere from 15 to 40 psi. And all you have to do is do one, and then you count the number of turns, and you set the other tires the same way. So you only have to measure one, and then you put them on, and you can actually drive with them while you're on the road. And they'll deflate, and then you just unscrew them. So actually comes with this real nice tire deflator guide here, so you can actually go to your tire size and the weight of the gross vehicle weight of the vehicle, and it actually come down here and actually tell you, what the tire settings should be for those different tires and the weight of your vehicle, which is kind of really nice. So a little handy indicator there that comes with it.
Along the trail there are 4 water holes. This is Fort Puite. I think that's how you pronounce it. And the valley we've crossed is called Puite Valley. Now the interesting thing is that soldiers were billeted here to protect the water hole from bandits and Indians. And they actually had to billet soldiers to protect the water holes, because by protecting the water holes it meant that they actually protected the entire area, because without going to those water holes it's just too big and too arid for anybody to cross.
Hey Andrew, I think you need to take a rock from here, and maybe in 100 miles or so you'll figure out why you need it.
Does it matter which? No, apparently it doesn't matter what rock. There's such a big choice here. I know, this looks like a piece of volcanic rock. I've been told I have to have one with me. I'm not allowed to venture one more foot without a piece of landscape. And they refuse to tell me why. So I'll do it.
Crossing deserts is a passion of mine, and I can't help comparing the Mojave with other deserts that I've crossed.
The terrain in so many ways is similar to the Richtersveld, but also actually not. This is the closest I would say that the Mojave has to the Halfmensboom, that absolutely beautiful plant growing in isolated hills in the northern part of the Richtersveld, endemic to the area. And it is similar stance, the way this doesn't face in any particular direction, but the moment I saw it I thought that's very, very similar to the Halfmens. And the other passion of mine, of course, is driving 4x4s. Day 2 in the Sportsmobile. I've learnt a lot about this very interesting vehicle. I think many people who would look at it might just think, well, it's a Ford van that's been beefed up a little bit and four-wheel drive system added to it. I believe it's a lot more than that. For example, they didn't just take an axle off the shelf and use that, and then take a transfer gearbox and add that on and kind of compile it from existing products. A lot of the products, including some of the major ones, are actually custom. They're actually built for the Sportsmobile. Shock absorbers, one of them. They actually have them specifically made and tuned and set up for this vehicle. For example, the purpose-designed and built transfer case.
Andrew, this is the transfer case that's in the van that you were driving, and it's a little different than most you'll see. It's got what they call twin sticks. So we can actually shift the rear and front axle independently, and it's not a chain-driven transfer case, it's actually a gear-driven transfer case. Engage the rear, we now have rear wheel high. We can take the front and engage it, and now we have four-wheel drive, high range. We can take the rear and put it in low, and now we have four-wheel drive, low range. So instead of a chain, we now have gearing, which gives us more capabilities and flexibility.
The whole concept of it, to me, it's very interesting. If you think about overland touring vehicles, there are three main categories: small,
Now my Land Cruiser would be considered small. It's not a vehicle. You can live out of it, kind of, because I've got a camper conversion, but it's not really designed for living out of. So, and that means that when the weather gets really, really bad, you're camping. You're living in a tent, and you are exposed to all of the bad weather. Once you get to this size, and while this is a big vehicle, it's only a medium-sized vehicle. It can easily fit into a shipping container, so as a world touring vehicle, putting it in the container is possible, whereas the very large trucks, which actually don't appeal to me at all, personally, but they are very much live-in vehicles, more so than anything else, because you can't put them in a shipping container, the big ones, and therefore shipping them across the seas is more complicated and subject to major security problems. So this size of vehicle is ideal for world cruising because you live in it. When the weather gets nasty, you have everything built in, and yet it can still fit into a shipping container. Now, if I look at the United States, now, I don't know a lot about the trailing here, but I'm getting an idea of the scene, the overlanding scene in the United States. And there are huge areas to explore, much bigger than I first thought. And areas where they're accessible all year round, in all weathers, and in a vehicle like this, weather is no longer an issue. It has a built-in heater system. It has built-in electric systems, solar panels. It has both a 110 volt AC system and a 12 volt DC system, all built into it. So when the weather gets bad, you can protect yourself against the weather. But what's it like to drive long distance? Now, the United States, North America has the most extraordinary system of interstate highway. As a motorway cruiser, this is excellent. It's quiet, it's fast, it's powerful, it's nice to drive. You could do long distances in it. The ride is good. I can't fault it. And of course, you've got built-in fridges and everything, and it has so much going for it in terms of the United States. And I honestly think that if I lived here and wanted to explore this country, I would so seriously consider this kind of vehicle. I really, really would. It seems to deliver everything that you would want. It wouldn't be any good as an African tour vehicle. It doesn't have the range. You don't need, you need 1,000 kilometer range for Africa travel, overland travel. You have to have that. This not close to that, even though this has a modified fuel tank. It's 42 gallons is what I think he told me. So it does have a reasonable range, but it's got a enormous V10 engine, so it's very heavy on fuel.
There we go.
The current caretaker of Sportsmobile is passionate off-roader Alan Felt.
Sportsmobile is over 50 years old, and it was originally designed for the Volkswagen Vanagon back in 1961, and that's how it started. And since then, we've moved away from the Volkswagen chassis, and Westphalia has pretty much taken that over in the mid-60s with their pop top, and we started doing Ford, Chevy, and Dodge chassis. And now we've progressed into the Mercedes Sprinter and actually building our own bodies on the Ford. Andrew, the Ford van that you were driving, this is how we get it in. It's called a cutaway chassis. Just the front cab. After the front doors, there's nothing there but frame and rail. We sell to a lot of photographers. We sell to a lot of windsurfers, kiteboarders, skiers, people that like to go down to Baja a lot, windsurf and surf down there. Just people that like to get out in the backcountry and out in the middle of nowhere, kind of like we are right now. We put new drive shafts in. He's got it hanging here right now. The shocks are made by Fox and Santee. All new spring mounts, new shocks. This is the size of the transfer case, so it's a lot smaller, and it's probably 10 times stronger. But every component made in California. And the van will get you there, and then it's got all the comforts of a motorhome inside, gets you off the ground, gets you out of the weather. At the expo this year, that was a perfect example. We had rain, we had mud, and we had snow, and we had cold winds. And that's perfect Sportsmobile weather. So this new Mercedes Sprinter, this is the first time we've had it off-road, and I've been very happily impressed on its capabilities in the sand and in the rocks, and I'm ecstatic about it. The Ford is body on frame. It has 10 forward gears and 2-wheel drive and 4-wheel drive. You can drive it rear wheel, front wheel, or 4-wheel, as you've experienced. And it's just a more robust 4-wheel drive system. It's got more articulation. It's a more extreme off-road vehicle. I believe this Mercedes, which is unibody and factory 4-wheel drive, it does have a low range option. I believe it'll do 80%. I've been saying 80% of what our customers believe. After doing this little run right now, I'm thinking maybe 85% even. It's a very capable off-road vehicle.
Driving the Sportsmobile off-road along these tracks, it's not exactly a nimble vehicle. Well, it's not exactly a small vehicle, but I found it easier than I expected it would be. It took me, I don't know, an hour or so to get used to the width. Off-road, to get used to the length, took me a little while, but it's absolutely competent, as comfortable as anything on these rough tracks. It really is quite impressive. The interior and sleeping accommodation is actually designed for 4 people, and these seats can be used while traveling. There are seat belts, so it is actually a 4-people carrier, not a 2-people carrier as I first thought. The top lifts up, 2 can sleep up top, 2 can sleep down here, and I've been sleeping in both places. Up top you get a nice view through mosquito netting, and also there's plastic ceiling, which means that if there is wind you can still see out plastic windows, which is actually quite a nice idea. I wouldn't configure it like this for myself. I mean, these are very high quality kitchen tops. I probably wouldn't do that, but that's just my style. I think I'm a little bit more practical, but quality of finish is first class. I don't like where the fridge is, but you know, the thing is that these vehicles, almost all of them, are actually built to individual specifications. To be honest with you, this entire trip I've been thinking, how would I configure it? What would I do? And my mind has been churning all the time, different ideas on what I would do. I'd use some of the systems, definitely. They've got the full electrical system, the 12-volt system, and a AC system, water pumps, and the whole bang shoot. It's been an extraordinary day. This is the first desert that I've truly explored outside of Southern Africa, and the early part was so similar in so many ways to the Richtersveld, which is in the northern Cape Province. Very dry, very arid, not very many plants. But this area here, this part of the Mojave in the Joshua Tree Forest, is unlike anything I've ever seen. And in fact, I see all around me examples of cacti that I've only ever seen before in nurseries and in my children's bedrooms. They're like these little cacti. They're here. The real ones are here. And these Joshua trees they're like old, ragged men walking ever so slowly through the bush. It's an amazing place. Beautiful and quiet, and a perfect place to set up camp. Last night we were looking up the stars in our chairs, and it was a magnificent sky. Extraordinary glow in the east. Las Vegas apparently is the brightest city in the world. The whole sky, and it's several hundred miles away. I mean, I think it's about 200 miles away, and yet the whole, no clouds, so it wasn't as if the light was reflecting off the cloud. There was just this glow over the horizon. Amazing that a city could give off so much light. Some time ago, NASA did an experiment using Hubble they wanted to estimate how much life or how many objects there were in the observable universe, and they also wanted to extend the observable universe further than they had before. So they took Hubble and they searched the entire sky, and they found the emptiest piece, and they pointed Hubble at that. The cross-section of sky, if you can imagine, if you can take a small coin and turn it on its edge and hold it at arm's length, that's the cross-section of sky, and they pointed it at the emptiest piece they could find. Over the week's exposure, month's exposure, light gathered and it collected objects. They reported that the objects in that section numbered approximately 4,000. And then they made the startling announcement that none of those objects were stars. Every single one of them was a galaxy. A galaxy. Go and think about that for a while. I find it be a little bit beyond my capabilities, to be honest with you. It's like asking a fish to imagine what it would be like going for a walk down the high street.
We're on the Mojave Trail, and this is the Mojave Trail mailbox. We're not sure where it came from or who put it here, but you're supposed to sign the logbook and leave something here and then proceed down the trail. If you want to get a picture of me.
Oh, cool, look at this. There's all kinds of things in here. Long cuts, what is this? This product is not a safe alternative to cigarettes. It's probably snuff or something. There's a book, Outwitting Trolls. There's some biscuits. I see some water on the ground there. Bubble gum, chewing gum. And the pen, does it stay in here? Yeah. What can I leave? We're heading for Joshua Tree Forest. Doesn't the word Joshua Tree sound so nice? Well, this is a Joshua tree. I have no idea why it's called a Joshua tree, but I shall find out and let you know.
Common folklore suggests that the Joshua tree was given its name by a group of Mormon settlers who crossed the Mojave Desert in the mid-19th century. The tree's unique shape reminded them of the biblical story in which Joshua reaches up his hands into the sky in prayer.
What we're going to do now is we're going to head to Soda Dry Lake. In the area, there are many dry lakes, and they're basically salt flats. And the one we're going to travel to today is called Soda Lake, and we're going to camp on its edge, if we can find a place. So this is Soda Lake. And we're coming to the end of our little expedition. What are we going to do now? Make up camp and eat sausages. Well, for those of you who know my overlanding exploits, places that I love to be, salt flats. And this is the first proper salt flat that I've been to outside of Africa. And I think the vehicle that I'm driving is fitting where I am, and that's my mount, and this is what I'm going to wake up to. So our camp is about 2 kilometers that way across the pan. I just hope it stays dry. Aha! So, this big mystery. Why did I have to carry a rock 100 miles across the desert? On top of this traveller's pile is a plaque, the inscription on which will reveal all. I don't know what the big mystery is, but this is the pile of stones that everybody who crosses Soda Lake has to now put a rock on the pile and read the plaque. Only problem is, well, for you anyway, I am forbidden to reveal it. I've been sworn to secrecy. I can't tell you what it says on the plaque. It's actually quite... Wow, that's really... Whew. Sorry, I can't. I've been sworn to secrecy. They said, no, you do not say it's no. So, you're going to have to come here. If you want to know what it says on that plaque, you're going to have to come here. Now that was a worthwhile trip. That was a worthwhile trip.